The content you're about to enjoy comes from the archives of The Best You. We're devoted to the very best in personal development, with a platform and resources dedicated to inspiring and changing people's lives. At The Best You, we work with the world's leading writers and trainers on the evolution of the self, and people whose journeys have been affected by their work and words. These Best You EXPO talks are recorded in front of a live audience in a live event. We highly recommend that you focus on the message. As they say, what you focus on expands. Enjoy. What do Sir Richard Branson, John Travolta, Ashton Kutcher, and Russell Simmons have in common? Well, all of them have participated as speakers and honored guests at events produced by entrepreneur and philanthropist Ryan Long. And this is just to name a few. And he's done so to help others overcome life hurdles. In 2014, Long developed City Gala, and it has gone from strength to strength. It was created to assist nonprofits to obtain seed funding so that they could launch into a full-fledged business. Long brings highly influential individuals to speak on behalf of charitable organizations and helps attract large sponsors. It's a magic formula that works. The title of his talk is The Purpose is to Assist, Grow, Learn, and Contribute. In this 15-minute talk, Long explores the passion behind his success. I've had the pleasure in speaking at some of Ryan's events. I've attended many, the City Gala, the Gala City, and he has just done phenomenal events. He has the most amazing actors, actresses, artists speaking at this event. Ryan is by far, without a doubt, one of the biggest and most influential promoters when it comes down to creating fascinating events all around the mission in life, which is to make a difference. I highly recommend you listen to Ryan because he has a great story and he's a great man. Thank you so much.
Bring on a rousing round of applause for Ryan Long.
Thank you.
Come on, rousing round of applause.
Thank you, Lynn. Oh my gosh, it's always good to see you.
Good to see you.
So Lynn Rose is actually our MC at our own events, and it just makes me happy to hear her voice all the time, every single time. Hey guys, my name is Ryan Long, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I became a fundraiser. And it would be a really, really, really big mistake for me to not relate this to all of you guys. Is everybody here a business owner? Everybody here is that everybody? Yeah, that's everybody. Okay, everybody here is an entrepreneur. Great. I'm gonna tell you why I became a fundraiser and why that's important for entrepreneurship in our day and age. First, I would be remiss if I don't go into a little bit of my background, a little bit of my history, okay? I was born with a congenital foot disease called, impairment called club foot, meaning my foot was entirely turned around when I was born. My dad, who had fathered me out of wedlock with my mom, took one look at me when I was in the hospital after being born, and he said, "That's not my kid," and he took off. And my mom, of course, was distraught. That was her lover, but she moved on. She didn't have the luxury of just ditching out on me. So she would take me to the doctor every single week, twice a week, put a cast on my foot, and that cast was kind of turning my foot around twice a week. You can imagine having your baby and going in and having to turn that child's foot around slowly until ultimately, by the time I was 6 years old, the doctor put a bar between my legs. It had gotten straight, but just to keep it straight, the doctor put a bar between my legs, and I slept in the bar. I ate in the bar. I did everything in the bar. I lived in the bar, all right? And this to me was, I don't know, it just speaks to the greatness of motherhood and the willingness to never give up on your child. And I just can't have, thank you, Lynn. I have one fan in here. But she knows my mom. So it makes it a little easier. Anyhow, I get to this point where the doctor says, my mom takes me in for another checkup, and I still have that bar on my feet. And the doctor says to my mom, do you think my mom said, yeah, I think that if you take that bar off of his feet, he'll walk. And I did immediately, right then at the doctor's office. And I started walking at 10 months, and I was the first of my grandparents, my grandfather and grandmothers. I was the first of our generation to be a boy. So imagine grandma and granddad had 4 girls, and then there's me, all right? And like I said, I was born out of wedlock, so that was a little bit trying. There were issues there, and the issues were mostly related to my mom's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed lady, and my dad was this black dude. Anyway, the black dude doesn't matter. He's out of my life. And I'm grateful for the next thing that I'm about to tell you. I'm so grateful for it because it makes me exactly who I am. 5 years later, my dad re-enters my life, and my mom says, you're about to meet your dad. She comes to me, you're about to meet your dad. It's your real dad. I said, well, I thought granddad was my dad because that's all I knew was my grandfather. Granddad was my dad, and I loved my granddad, but of course, every kid at school had a father, right? So you get really excited about this kind of stuff. And let me remind you, I'm telling you why I became a fundraiser for charitable purposes, okay? So don't let that off of your mind.
If you're interested in speaking, exhibiting, or getting involved in the largest personal development expos in the world, contact us today at www.thebestyouexpo.com or send us an email to info@thebestyou.co.
So my mom gets me all dressed and ready to go. And here he is, this man that my mom had been telling me about, this big, strong, father that was supposed to be my dad. And I'm like, yay, I get to see dad. My mom dresses me up in a nice, cute little collar, and we go out for our first play date. He takes me directly from my mom's ghetto-ass apartment, because we were poor, okay, to his condo on the other side of the city. He makes me get completely naked, lay down on the floor, and then he takes his belt and he beats me bloody. And I know now why that happened. I know that it had nothing to do with me, and I know it had everything to do with the fact that my dad had disappeared from my mom's life. They were in love. And he had no other way but to get back into my mom's mind, but by this, right? My mom had moved on. I have a new brother, a new little sister. And I think what his goal was to get into my mom's head. It didn't work. He brought me back after beating me bloody. Mom cried, yes. Mom got stronger, yes. Mom then took me, my brother, and my sister, and we moved to a different part of the city. And I never really spoke to my dad again after that. But the mentorship moments started to come very quickly after that, and I have to pay attention to time because I have a very short time with you guys. The mentorship, I'm sorry? Oh, it says 8. Is that right? Okay. The mentorship moments came like this. When I got to age 12, you can imagine from that beating, I never trusted anybody again. I never let anybody inside again. And I had no desire to. If the person that's supposed to be my dad will completely betray me the way that I was betrayed, then no one deserves to get in my heart space. I'm a troubled youth. Mom sees that. Mom puts me into baseball because I loved playing sports. She puts me into baseball, and she invites my grandfather out one day. My grandfather watches me strike out 3 times in a row, and that bothered him, and he didn't approach me about it, but my granddad, he approached my mom about it, and he said, hey, I'd like to work with Ryan. And I was resistant at first. My mom came to me, I think I was laying in bed, and she said, hey, Granddad wants to take you to the batting cage. And I said, well, no, I'm a teenager. I'll figure this shit out myself, right? Who here's been a teenager? and said, I'll figure this shit out myself. Were you wrong? All right. So mom, in the most gentle way. Now, my mom is kind, but she ain't gentle, okay? She's kind, but she's tough. In the most gentle voice that I've ever heard her speak to me in, she said, just give your granddad a chance. He just wants to help you. We go to the batting cage, and he's outside. As I'm swinging, I had no idea this was going to be like this whole lesson thing. I thought we were just going to go swing at the ball. But my grandfather was actually committed to making his grandson a better person. So he's outside of the batting cages, and he's watching me like this, and I'm in the batting cage. Obviously, the ball's coming in, and I'm whiffing big time. I'm whiffing right over and over and over again, over and over and over again. And that first time until my hands were bloody. This time, the blood came from love. My grandfather was a farm boy. And there is no such thing as a farmer with bad work ethic, okay? You either crop or die, right? So he's teaching me this farm boy type work ethic, and I'm absorbing what I know as my father in a mentorship moment. The first one was work ethic. You want to know how to be the best you. You develop a hard, sickening work ethic. But your work ethic must come with clarity. It must come with clarity. If you're not clear on who you are, your work ethic will spin in 10,000 different directions. So that was my first mentorship moment. Let me fast forward this story for you real quick. 6 months later, Granddad and I went out and got batting gloves, of course, the next week because my grandma thought he was trying to kill me. Grandma didn't like that my hands were bleeding. We went out, got batting gloves. 6 months later, my grandfather is no longer standing outside of the batting cage telling me, you're under it, you're over it, you're swinging too hard, hit the ball, keep the ball straight. He's no longer doing that anymore. Now, all he's doing is saying, hit it to the right, as he smokes his cigar. And a big crowds of people would gather around the batting cage that I was swinging in just to watch. I was this big. I was like 12 years old. I was this big. I was skinny. And my grandfather, in the fastest cage that the batting cage had, my grandfather would say, hit it to the right. And I would smash home run after home run after home run to the right. And then he would say, hit it up the middle. And he's showing off now. Now he's showing off because, as you can imagine, before I wasn't so good. So anyway, hit it up the middle. And I would smash home run after home run right up the middle. What do you think happened when he called out, hit it to the left? I smashed it over and over and over again. I was an all-star in Little League. I was all-city, all-state in high school. I got a baseball scholarship. The whole thing ended up being in just this magical story of someone stepping in for a young boy, trying to help him become his best you. Mentorship moment number 2, and I only have a couple minutes to get through these, so I'll do my best. It comes with this. I'll skip forward to the transformation of my life and how I actually arrived on this stage.
Having promoted more than 600 speakers and more than 65,000 people attend my seminars and courses and workshops and expos, having read so many books and attended so many courses, I really realized that the basics of personal, professional growth is based on the power of the question. Asking yourself empowering questions. Read my new book, The Question, Find Your True Purpose. It's based on my work, 30 years of entrepreneurship, all the experiences that I have, my manifesto, and what's really important. So for more information, go to www.thequestion.co.
From my youth, I was a troubled kid, troubled teenager, troubled young adult, and I did a lot of things that embarrassed and hurt my family a lot. One of the things that I was doing is I was a nightclub promoter. And at the nightclubs, I thought it was so cool. The bling, the flash, the cash, the whole thing. Call me king, right? I had, all the things that a young man, quote unquote, would desire, except what Tony Robbins refers to as the art of fulfillment. So mentorship moment number 2 comes from this, is that when you hit rock bottom, and I hit rock bottom by this, I was engaged to be married, and the person that I was with, the love of my life at that time, refused to have my children. And she refused because I was being a scumbag. That's why. And it's really, really difficult for me to talk about, some of these things here, but this is the honest truth, is that she had 2 abortions because I was a terrible person, because I was out there, because I wasn't being who I really am. I wasn't being my best me. And I got depressed. I got fat. I grew tits. By the way, gentlemen, if there's any gentlemen in this audience and you have tits, I recommend losing them. They don't do you any good. Anyway, so I get fat. I get depressed. I'm like nobody's business. Down in the dumps. All I did was watch MSNBC and Fox News. That'll turn you into a real bitter soul, won't it? Anyway, in order to get out of my depression, after her and I separated, I moved in with grandma. I had stopped working. I had no cash. I had no bling. And I was like in my late 20s. And that is not very appealing on the dating scene. Believe me. Hey, do you want to go back to my grandma's house? I have no money. Will you pay for that cup of tea? Because I'm single again and fat. And so I said, you know what? I better get in shape. I better change something. Here's what changed. I started reading. I started reading personal development and self-help books until ad nauseum. I was obsessed. I became obsessed with more. All the people that you guys know about, Tony Robbins, Jack Canfield, Bob Proctor, Wayne Dyer, Napoleon Hill, those were my favorites. And I read them over and over and over and over again because I had farm boy work ethic instilled in me, right? So the mentorship moment that I would like to share, number 2, is in order to be the best you have to take the wisdom that is abundantly provided to you. You have to take that wisdom and apply it, okay? And in order to be the best you not only have to apply that wisdom, you have to be ready for rejection. You have to be ready for the pain. You have to be ready to overcome. You have to be ready for the battles, the adversities, and you have to cherish those lessons that you get from those. In order for you to be the best you have to know exactly who you are. I am a fundraiser for charitable purposes because all that pain that I went through, because I embarrassed my family, because I hurt my own self by doing it, because I basically and honestly and truthfully got so much guilt that when I went through my transformation, I made the hard commitment to find out exactly who I am and exactly what I want to do. So all that flash that you see, all the celebrities and all the fundraising and all that stuff, that's a whole bunch of hard work. That's what that really is. And we are at City Gala, we are for solving the world's global grand challenges. And if you want to know what the world's global grand challenge is, come see me. That's my time. Thank you very much. My name is Ryan Long. Thank you, guys.
For more information, go to www.thebestyou.co.